guys, we're out here and this is going to be a kind of a commercial and probably the start of the Foukelore episode 4. We're going to try to get back up to Mountain Home and finish filming the incident that was with Billy Walker. We got area up around the western part of Arkansas up in the National Forest. We're going to try to get up there this year and film that. And then we're still working the area around Border Creek, Buffalo Hump their equipment, and we've got some leads on that. Larry Golf, the guy from that area, has a friend that had 2 encounters with something there that's scared the dogs while they were hunting and everything, and he's going to try to hook us up with that guy, and so we can film their experience and talk to them. I think that's about it, ain't it?
No, didn't we get a call from a guy up in Oklahoma?
Oh yeah, the Indian reservation up there called us and it's got a problem with a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch, or at least that's what they think it is. It's coming around in different times during the night and scaring people by looking in their windows. They're wanting us to arrange a time to go up and check that out. So that'll be our first experience outside of Arkansas if we get to go do that. And that'll be exciting. We got a whole lot of stuff going on here on Foukelore for this year. Is that all it?
We got any more leads down in Foukelore, Arkansas?
Oh yeah, we've got 2 leads. We got some family members of one of the Arkansaw boys that lives down there, or lives here. His family lives down there, and they was telling them about stuff that happened on Jonesville Road. Wanted us to come down and interview them, and we'll check those locations out. We're going to try to do that towards the end of this year, maybe the first part of January, so that might actually end up on Foukelore episode 5, but it's going to be an exciting year, and we just want to thank all of our fans and keep us in your thoughts. Deuces!
We're about to go through that. I'm holding on to it. That there's at least 5 feet deep.
That almost looks like a pyramid.
I'll lean this way, that'll pull up. No, it'll stay in that rut as long as we don't slide off in that other rut. That other side where the left tire was,
Yeah.
on his truck, it's deeper. Way deeper.
Hey, I'm on your land, but he wants to talk to you. Yeah, he's got permission to be on my land. I'm related to him.
We're at one of our Bigfoot areas. You can see it took a step right here. It's kind of an older track, but see if I can back out a little bit where you can see it. Looks like a left foot, and this is how far of a jump it went. All the way over there, there's a right front footprint. And once I get across this little branch area, it might have been another one right here at the edge of the branch. But even if it was, that's still 12-foot jump. So Once I get to the other side, I'll show it to you. And take a close-up picture of this one again. That's the whole front. You can see where it dug its front toes into it and jumped on over. Howdy folks, we're out here with Billy Walker and we're finally back to film the area where he saw his sighting of whatever it was. I'm saying it's one of the types of Bigfoots that's in Arkansas. It seems to be like 4 different types that people have described, and this is one of them. It's September 30th, 2018. This is on for Foukelore episode 4, and I'm gonna turn it over to Billy Walker and let him tell you what all happened and point to the areas of what he saw.
Well, there's not a whole lot to say other than I don't know what the heck it was first. We were coming back fishing from Fountain Marina late tonight, about 2 in the morning, me and a buddy Joe, and as we rounded this bend right here real slow where that green sign is up there, there was something standing there, and as we got closer and closer to it, whatever it was, it takes one step, I guess you'd call it that. It puts its knuckles on the asphalt and swings its rear legs through its knuckles, and then steps and hits the center line with one step. That's all it took.
That's a big step.
It's a big step. It stands up when it hits the center line, and the high beams are on now, and it makes eye contact with me. Then it goes back to my buddy Joe, and then it comes back to me again. Then it turns, takes one more step, is on the far shoulder of the road, pauses, and then kind of leaps and is gone, just like that. And we rolled up to the stop sign there and sat there for a few minutes, just not saying a single word, and took the turn and headed towards the house. Didn't really have a whole lot to say about it other than, did you see that? Joey said, yeah, I did. He said, it looked at us up and down, didn't it, Joe? And he said, yeah, I believe so. And then I said, I don't think we ought to tell anybody about this, do you, Joe? He said, no, I don't believe we should. And that was pretty well it.
Like I was saying, this is for Foukelore episode 4. We're going to be doing eyewitness accounts, and this is one of the first ones that we was started on about 3 years ago now, ain't it? It's time for 2 years anyway. Time flies. But we're going to have one up around the other side of Harrison, which he actually comes and fishes here on this lake. From go up there and get with him and maybe make it back down to Fouke, Arkansas this winter. So y'all stay tuned and God bless.
Is the camera on? Let's see if we can pick up these whoops we're hearing in the background here when we do some tree knocks and some animal sounds. Is it on, Alec?
Yeah, it is now.
That was an awesome Bigfoot call. I hope we got it on recorder. Yeah, that's really good song. Yeah, that's good. Alright guys, we've gone about as far as the land that we got access. Well, I think we got some good whoops here and calls and sounds on the recording. Let's call it a night and head out of here and try to do it again maybe next weekend. Alright, talk to y'all later. Howdy folks, I'm Wendell Hurricane Burris and this is Foukelore 2019. I'm going to catch you up on a little information and everything. You may have seen the post on our Facebook page. February 2nd of this year we was called in on an investigation where 3 families had contact and seen a Sasquatch in Cleburne County. We went over and did an investigation, and what had happened is that one of the families there had about 2.5–3 years ago had invited a bunch of people over one evening, and They had had a target practice and then shooting and everything. Just had a good time on one evening, and after that, the incidences with the Sasquatch started happening more repeatedly. They had out of the two different families, over 140 chickens that had been taken. At one point, the whole back of the chicken house had been ripped off. They had rocks that was thrown in and busted the back deck on the house and logs. It just kind of repeatedly got worse to where they called somebody that needed help, that needed them to help and find what was going on. So we went over there, went up the mountain, and while we was there, we found 2 tracks, several small caves, and some other interesting things. Three, two, one, go.
Hey guys, this is Marshall. Just coming at y'all today with a little video. We're out here in Cleveland County, outside of Heber today. Done a little investigation that we got a tip on. So y'all just stay tuned and we'll let y'all know what happens.
Kick him out. Come on.
My name's Matthew, and I'm going to tell you about a little Bigfoot Sasquatch run-in up in the National Forest just north of Cleveland, Arkansas. It was last year's deer season. It was rifle season, and I was actually, I believe it was the second weekend of rifle season. And these 2 deer, all of a sudden they spook. So I'm standing still for probably 15 minutes. Get about 200 yards on up, probably about 80 yards from the tee by then. I see movement. So I kind of stop and I'm looking through. It's real briary, real thick shrubs and everything probably 60 yards out. And I see movement. I'm almost 6 foot and I'm looking a little bit higher than that. And it's coming uphill. And it's still every 3 to 4 seconds that thump, thump. It's not a, you know, a 4-legged animal trotting up a cliffside or a hill. It's just a thump, thump. Well, then it gets real quiet. So I back off to a cedar tree and an oak tree. I've got my rifle up. I'm scoping through, and I guess it was facing away from me at the time. I could see the bicep, the tricep, and a calf muscle from it standing behind a tree and some shrubs. And I've got a 3x9 scope. I'm scoping in. I see real fine, kind of like a silverback gray to a light brown 6-inch hair all the way down its bicep, tricep, and I could barely see its calf muscle. And it was like it was swaying in and out from this big tree. And from this big tree, there's pines probably 3-4 feet from each other, and then there's a thicket that it's still kind of hiding into. It never would really come out to where I could get a full glimpse of its body, but it was like it was swaying behind this one tree for a good 5 to 8 minutes. and I'm trying to scope up and down. It's almost on level ground with me. I'm 6 foot. I'm aiming about 3 feet higher than I am. And I'm scoping in, I've got both eyes open, making sure there's nothing else standing out there. It backs out, kind of taps the tree with a limb, and backs on out. Never would come out of that pine line to where the trees were almost in perfect row. And it's like it would go every 3 to 4 trees and kind of pop out just for a second, and then it would get back into the thicket. It went back probably 60 yards, and it was 60 yards from me. Takes 2 pine trees, probably 2 feet round, and got through there. After all this happened, an hour later, I went to kind of investigate to where it was kicked up leaves, good sections. But after it got 60 more yards away from me, they took these 2 trees, shook them for a good 5 to 8 seconds. Shook it. I don't know if it was trying to get a squirrel out of the tree since the deer had run off, because there were 2 does that can run up the other side of the cliff and out of the way. But it's like it was trying to figure out what I was, but wouldn't come out. It's like it was almost stealth hunting those deer, thinking I might have been a deer also, I guess, and trying to figure out what I was coming up to kill. So it came down to it. Within those few days, kind of investigated that area, and probably every 5 to 6 feet there's scuffed up leaves, a good 13, 14 inches. And then I've found some stick figures and kind of like little laid over trees intertwined with each other on some cliff hangings about like this, a little bit deeper in, probably 3-4 feet deeper in, kind of laid up against it. I do have pictures, and I think I might have an old video of it too, kind of scanning through it. But to see its eyes, facial features, hands, anything like that, it wasn't possible. I did see the hair coming off of it. I knew it wasn't a black bear, because the black bear wouldn't walk up a incline of 45 degree more than probably 20 feet at the most, if that. But it walked away on 2 feet, and it was creepy. Not fully understanding it at the time. I sat there probably for an hour wondering what really happened. Did I see what I thought I saw? But scoping in that close with that good of a scope, knowing that I saw that long of a hair, and kind of knowing about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and seeing things in the woods stacked up 1.5 miles, 2 miles out in the middle of nowhere, it makes you wonder. And you know, I kind of want to further investigate that area a little bit more, and I have once or twice, but I will not go in there without a rifle or a pistol. And that pretty much sums it up. But it didn't seem to be aggressive. It seemed to be maybe hunting like I was. So that's the end of my story.
All right.
Walking back up on the tree where Dale found all the stuff, toys and everything. We come back, been 2 weeks. The toys and trash has all been pulled out. A box that was up in the crack up above was thrown down there, and we found some big track depressions where it looks like a hill, and everything was that, and you see the heel and the ball of foot there, and seeing the area that it walked up and went up to the top of the mountain. So we got Matthew up there putting a game camera up. We're gonna see if we can get any pictures of whatever's coming down through here and walking and messing up this area, and using this area to sit or just to pass through. Talk to you later. Bye. Done done.
God. Well, that's either a big overhang or a cave right there.
Yeah, so it's definitely a dark area.
Real dark. You can't see any detail on the back of it. Right up there, right below where those cedar trees are starting to grow. Big cedar trees. Whoa.
Don't fall.
Whoa. Oh, got a cramp.
Uh-oh. That's not on the side where the bicep is, though. That's one good thing. It's amazing little big camera. It does an awesome job.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that's handy. It doesn't take much room, does it?
It's got a 5x zoom.
That's like that little. That's kind of like that little Panasonic I brought up here. That is about twice that big, maybe.
Something walking back up in there.
I'm sure.
No, walking 2 feet walking.
Right.
Okay. Two or three. Damn it.
Yeah, that's all the activity is where they was at. And when we camped up yonder, not where we is, you know where you drove up to the mule?
Mm-hmm.
Off to the right, down in that hollers where that was at when
Oh,
Marshall.
if you drive it straight up toward you?
Yeah.
Down the right. But yeah, I started looking all the way from there. There's one of the two right here with it. Like I said, right in there, now where the game trail goes straight up the mountain, it kind of goes right there where it connects. It looks like a playground right there. I mean, the way the logs are dropped, it looks like they had an X, but one of the part of the X dropped. You can see the one going like this, but the one that should be going like this is missing. It's kind of, you can see where it fell down.
Huh. See, all that last year was down in yonder.
Well, they're going to mark all the perimeter of their territory. They just don't put it around. They'll do, you know, say if it's like a square, their territory,
Yeah.
they'll put one all the way around. They'll put an X. If you want to find the archway with one of them X's, if you don't find an archway, man, you ain't, I wouldn't be hanging around too much longer.
Yeah, that's a huge footprint. We got a shotgun here for reference of how it is. This thing's about 17 inches long, something like that. You can see the heel print right here comes up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It'd be a right footprint.